So what is the rest of September going to bring? Well, if you thought the debate was bad for the disgraceful ex-president, the remaining days of this month are liable to be even worse because his planetary cycles continue to be very unhelpful. You've already heard me say plenty of times that the core transits involving everything from Jupiter outward and through Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Eris are all bad, very bad, which is why he finds himself in the fix that he's in. But this month, he also has to contend with the fast-moving transits of the Sun, Venus, Mars, and the Black Moon. And remember, when you hear square, think difficult, irritating, problematic, and the emergence of troubling circumstances, something that is true for anyone experiencing squares, but most especially in the case of a malignant narcissist determined to exact revenge at any cost, a formula that he thinks is effective when in fact is almost certain to make matters worse. So the Sun is a problem because it is in an irritating square to his natal Moon and Sun positions from today until Monday, as shown by the orange block here. Venus will be squaring his Saturn-Venus natal conjunction next week, as shown by this orange line. The Black Moon is squaring his Mercury all the way to the end of the month, and most threatening of all, transiting Mars is the red line that extends from today until the week of the 23rd. This kind of Mars is irritating for anyone, but for him will be especially enraging and very likely to incline him to engage in aggressive, inappropriate speech and actions that will prove counterproductive. It is also very possible to correlate with emerging events and situations that he strongly dislikes and therefore enrage him even more. Since his natal Sun lives in the 11th natal sign, a place of human friendships and associations, something we are already seeing that correlates with the Sun square is the news that he is associating with some really questionable characters. Of course, he's prone to associate with such people because he himself is extremely venal, corrupt, and despicable. And let's face it, one of life's wisest adages is birds of a feather flock together. But of late, he is taking it to an even darker place and appears to be determined to plant his flag in regard to winning this election by doubling and tripling down on white supremacy and misogynistic themes. And so there you have him, not only hanging out with racist conspiratorial losers like Laura Loomer and Nazi sympathizer Timothy Hale Cusinelli. One quick look at Tim here, and speaking of associations, our minds immediately flash in on Nazi Germany. And Trump isn't just hanging around these examples of low-class human flotsam. He is parroting their ideas by using their phrases and their logic. And when he's not doing that, he continues to insist that Haitian immigrants are eating the pets of the people in a small town in Ohio. The other thing the Sun squaring his natal Sun and Moon will do is remind him that Kamala has a lot more money than he does, and I'm sure he'll rage and bristle at the thought that she hauled in at least $50 million as a reward for whipping his giant rear end in the debate, and will continue to outrace him and outspend him until Election Day. This is because the Sun is transiting through his second house of money. Venus spends all of next week's working days squaring his Saturn-Venus conjunction. This continues the theme related to being on the wrong side of women as a gender in every possible way, and with the added threat that bad news related to his criminal trials may emerge. Meanwhile, the Black Moon is squaring Mercury until the end of the month, keeping him fixated on all his darkest impulses, as if it were possible to go even lower, but this dude always finds a way to not just go to the bottom of the barrel, but literally dig a 6-foot hole under it and go lower still. Also, the Black Moon is correlated to female energy, so this adds to the Venus problems and guarantees the negative tension continues until the end of the month. Remember that the key issue in this election is the matter of women's reproductive rights, and in this topic, the orange degenerate has no viable answers because he is between a rock and a hard place. If he says anything reasonable, his base will get angry, and he absolutely cannot afford that. And if he defends his takedown of Roe and or continues to say that Democrats kill babies after birth, he comes off as an extreme freak, turning off the centrist voters he needs in order to have any chance of winning. In summary, nothing like black moon problems to describe women being angry with you, though of course, in his case, with very, very good reason. And finally, the Mars is likely to be the worst of these relatively quick-passing astrological aspects because, quite simply, the only way he relates to Mars is through vulgarity and aggression all the way to violence, which means he will express it in that way and it will help him with his base, but also broadcast this image of himself to, once again, the centrist voters that he needs, especially in the suburbs of America, and this will turn them off completely and likewise turn them against him completely at a time in the election cycle when he needs to court every possible vote. Add to that, he's going to spend time screaming and raging because he knows Kamala beat him decisively, and for a racist, narcissistic misogynist, there is almost nothing worse than being humiliated by the likes of Kamala. The most humorous part of all this would be his insistence prior to the debate that she's a low IQ, stupid person. Yet what she demonstrated most clearly this past Tuesday is that she is far smarter than he is, and as ultra-conservative operative Karl Rove put it in his debate assessment summary, there is no putting lipstick on this pig. Mr. Trump was crushed by a woman he previously dismissed as dumb as a rock, which raises the question, what does that make him? Exactly. So, bottom line, September is a very punishing month for the orange doofus. Despite all protestations to the contrary, he's gonna be hurting big time. Sad. Very sad. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.